The Denver Broncos versus the Los Angeles Raiders.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Coliseum in downtown Los Angeles, where it is another sweltering day in Southern California. Game time temperature is 95 degrees, almost no wind at the Coliseum whatsoever. So before it's all over, it could be the team that holds up under these extreme conditions best comes out on top. I'm Joel Myers alongside Ahmad Rashad. Two original teams from the old American Football League getting together once again. Broncos have taken 3 of the 4 opening day meetings over the last 25, Ahmad. These two bitter rivals have really played it closely, with the Raiders winning 13.
They certainly have, Joel. But you know, the Denver Broncos are, no matter what you think, they are the American Conference champions. And they are led by Dan Reeves. And they are at a spot where the Raiders want to get back to be. And they feel like this is an excellent opportunity for Art Shell's Raiders to find out if they're back the way they were a few years ago when they were the defending American Conference champions.
Looking right now at the youngest coach in the NFL at 43 years of age. Of course, the youngest head coach in the NFL. On the other side, Dan Reeves, the 4th youngest. Art Shell loves those home games. He was a perfect 6-0 after taking over for Mike Shanahan right here at the Coliseum last year.
Starting to date me, Joel, when you talk about these young head coaches. You start feeling your age when you have coaches that you played against. And that's the way it is today. I've played against both of these fellas.
The pride, the confidence, they say, is back with the Los Angeles Raiders. And as Jeff Jager gets it teed up, the Broncos win the opening toss. Al Davis just popped his head in the booth just a couple of minutes ago, Ahmad, and he said, Joel and Ahmad, don't be too nervous, even though it's opening day. I said, we're not nervous, Al, and I don't think your guys are either.
I think Al may be a little bit nervous because you never know. He said we can speculate as long as we want to, but today we find out just how good we are.
Elton Montgomery, Sammy Winder back deep, and the 89-90, rather the 90 campaign underway for the Denver Broncos. Winder doesn't get to it. It's picked up, I believe, by Mobley, though. I believe Orson Mobley, the tight end down there on the special teams, saved the Denver Broncos from disaster at the outset of the contest. John Elway coming off what the Denver people say was his best preseason, hitting 70% of his passes. His offensive line growing in size over the last 3 years. They're very, very high, in particular on the left tackle, Gerald Perry. Humphrey, the offensive rookie of the year in the AFC last year, in the backfield with Elway. Sewell will leave when they go to the extra tight end set, and Mobley comes in. 1st and 10 for the Broncos, their own 20-yard line for their first series of 1990. Bobby Humphrey on the carry. Good yardage for Humphrey. He gets 8. Defensively, the front four can stack up with the very best of them for the Los Angeles Raiders. Long, Golick, Davis, and Greg Townsend, who has looked sensational over the last couple of preseason games. The strength may be their linebacking group, a very experienced one. Robinson, Ellison, and Tom Benson, a Plan B signing last year. And they go to extra defensive backs. The two that will enter the game, Terry McDaniel and Elvis Patterson, the former Giant. 2nd and short, the delay. Humphrey's got more than enough for the first down. Out to the 35-yard line for Denver. Mike Harden, the former Bronco, making the stop, the strong safety.
What you are going to see throughout the course of the day is excellent cutability by Bobby Humphrey. Watch Humphrey find the hole here. He always makes the right decision. He's always inside those blocks. There's a great cut right there, and he's always going forward. He is a very efficient and a great runner, and he's got great eyesight. He always finds the right hole.
The 2 carries for Bobby Humphrey, and already 15 yards on the ground for the Denver Broncos.
And talking to Dan Reeves last night, we were talking like 2 old running backs, and we kept saying as we watch Bobby Humphrey in film, he always makes the right cut. And that's something that you really can't coach. That's an instinctive ability that great runners have.
Dan Reeves said to us yesterday that Bobby Humphrey did everything, as Ahmad said, on instinct. Now he knows the system. He gained better than 1,100 yards, the first Bronco rookie to ever go over the 1,000-yard mark. 1st and 10 for Denver. Their own 35-yard line. Elway's first pass attempt of the day is a dump off for Sammy Winder. Makes the first man miss. Still only gets about 2 on the reception. Gary Lewis, the cornerback, coming up.
Very nice play by Sammy Winder, who's been around a long time, but he's still a very effective running back. caught that ball on the run, made that first tackler miss, and still got a couple of yards.
Sammy's in his 9th year from Southern Mississippi. So call it second and a long 8 now for Elway and the Denver offense. With less than 2 minutes gone by in the first 15 minutes of play at the Coliseum. Deep drop for Elway and good protection as his tight end Kay drops the ball. Clarence Kay, the center of a lot of attention over the last couple of weeks surrounding his eligibility. Some were wondering if he was a third-time offender being cited for impaired driving in June. But Clarence Kay and his attorneys feel that no action will be taken. And he is still waiting for a decision, a ruling from Paul Tagliabue that should be forthcoming in the next week or two.
That's a pretty heavy burden on a young man like that. I think you'd rather have something be decided and then go on rather than have it be up in limbo.
4 wide receivers for the Broncos. Vance Johnson in motion on 3rd and 8 from their own 37. Elway. Average better than 5 a carry last year, and he's got the first down for Denver. All the way to the LA 49-yard line on the 14-yard scramble.
John Elway is nothing more than a single-wing tailback in that situation. You got a guy big, strong, fast like that can throw the ball the way he can. Most quarterbacks, when you make them run, they're at a disadvantage. In Elway's case, once he starts running, he's like a halfback in open field, and he will not hesitate to pick up that yardage on his own. And you notice he doesn't do a lot of that slide, and he'll try to punish somebody when they come to tackle him.
1st and 10 for the Broncos in Raider territory at the Los Angeles 49-yard line. It holds up well again for Elway. He's got his tight end wide open for another first down to the 33-yard line of Los Angeles. And it's Clarence Kay in his 7th year from Georgia, going at 6'2", 237.
A big confidence builder for Clarence Kay. First of all, he comes out just a couple plays before and drops the ball. And Elway, showing his confidence in Kay, comes right back to him and puts it right there, and Kay picks it up and makes a couple extra yards.
I asked Dan Reeves yesterday if it's been a distraction, all the attention surrounding Clarence Kay. He said maybe for Clarence, but it hasn't been that type of distraction for the rest of the team. Impressive start for the Broncos offensively. 1st and 10. Bobby Humphrey trying to cut it back and does a good job to get it down to the 30-yard line for a gain of about 3 when it looked like he'd be stopped in the backfield. Finally, he's knocked down by Howie Long.
Steve Sewell, the lead blocker on this play, number 30. Now, Sewell is a sort of a player that can play any position. They've got him playing fullback this year. And watch, he puts a little arm out there and tries to catch the guy. You can't block him. You just throw your arm out there and try to get him. Howie Long forcing down, getting blocked very well, but keeps pursuing after the runner.
Wilder, the only one in the backfield on 2nd and 7 from the 30. Elway on play action is in trouble and is going down. Back at the 36 for a loss of 6. Great outside pressure from Greg Townsend, and Archell told us his main responsibility is making sure that the containment is not broken by Elway.
One of the things you don't want to do when you're trying to play against a quarterback like John Elway is let him get outside, because once he gets outside, he still has the full range of the field because he's got such a strong arm. He can throw from one side of the field all the way over to the other. Most quarterbacks, once they get outside the end, they can only throw to that side of the field. But with Elway, it just opens up the entire field. And Townsend, his responsibility is to not let Elway get outside, and he did that very well that last play.
4 wideouts for Elway on 3rd and 13 from the Raider 36. Elway out of the shotgun, delivering, and it's dropped by his wide receiver. Vance Johnson usually hangs on to everything in his neighborhood. That time, though, he felt the pressure of Mike Harden, his former teammate.
There's a couple of old buddies that have probably run a million patterns against each other. Mike Harden with the Broncos before he came here with the Raiders. But this ball's got to be caught. I think what happened, Vance tried to catch the ball and make a turn back inside before he had a handle on it. It just got right through his fingers. A fine play there by Mike Harden, who was right on top of it.
Mike Horan, 7th year out of Long Beach State, to punt for the first time today for Denver. After a very successful drive, stalls at the 36 of L.A. Horan tried to angle it towards the sideline, and it looks like he did get it out of bounds. The linesman walking up. This is what Horan did so well last year. He was exceptional at getting the ball inside the 20. This time, all the way back inside the 10. So the first offensive series of the year for the L.A. Raiders, it'll start when we return at their own 8-yard line. Welcome back to the Coliseum in Los Angeles today, where game time temperature is 95 degrees. Joel Myers along with Ahmad Rashad. Those black jerseys for the Raiders, any difference wearing black on a day like today?
Well, you know what? It's always hotter on the losing side of the field. I don't think the jerseys make any difference, but for these blue jackets we have on, they're taking a toll on me. It is hot out here, Joel.
Coming into the game today, the Raiders felt very strongly about their offensive line, where they're very deep, and on the other side, defensively, a little thin up front for the Broncos.
Well, you know, in a game like this, it really takes a toll on the bigger players, and if the Raiders can rotate their offensive line, they will have an advantage over the Denver defensive line.
From the 8-yard line, Steve Smith with some breathing room to the 15 for the Los Angeles Raiders. The offensive look this year for the Los Angeles Raiders. Huge group up front. Wisniewski and Montoya, the strength of the offensive line. They're two guards, much stronger at the guard position than the tackle positions for the Raiders. Backfield, they'll use a lot of people besides Mueller and Smith. And speed to burn on the outside, Galt and Fernandez. Maybe one of the most underrated wide receivers in the NFL. Brown and Holland come in when they go to the 4 wide out alignment. Movement on the line, first mistake of the day with flags up in the air, belongs to the Los Angeles Raiders.
False start prior to the snap. Number 60 offense, still second down.
Rory Graves just a little bit ahead of time here. If you watch him as a left tackle, you see he jumps way off, which pulls the Vance Mueller behind him and also pulls off the defense. This game is going to settle down a little bit. They're very fired up. This Raider team is ready for this football game.
Brings up his second and close to 9 situation for Los Angeles with Willie Galt in motion. Again, Steve Smith gets the call. And he's got fresh legs, Ahmad. He did not get into camp because of a contract holdout until the last couple of preseason games. He's tripped up by Mark Mumford. Mumford, one of the linebackers for the Denver Broncos. They are thin up front. Second-year man Power starts at the left end. A rookie, a 10th-round draft choice at the right end position, Jim Szymanski. Mecklenburg and Fletcher, the strength of the defensive front seven for the Denver Broncos. And Atwater and Smith, strong safeties, both for Denver. Their nickel, the extra backs, Holmes, Robbins, Corrington, and Elliott Smith. Third and short for Los Angeles. And Steve Smith again has the first down for the Raiders. Number 35 getting his number called regularly at the outset of the contest with 7 minutes gone by in the first quarter. It's scoreless so far, and it's the first down of the season for L.A.
The Raiders on a day like today with all this heat, if they can amount up a good ground attack, that's the way you really wear down a team on a hot day like this. You just keep pounding and pounding up the middle. It's like in a boxing match where a guy takes a lot of body shots, and at some point during the course of the game, it starts to weaken up the entire team. Much more effective on a hot day running than passing.
But he gets backs to rotate for the Los Angeles Raiders with Greg Bell ready to come in, as well as Marcus Allen. Schrader with his first pass attempt of the day. To his favorite target, Mike Dowell, the tight end. A first down into Denver territory. 29 yards on the completion. He loved to go to Dowell during the preseason, and he starts the season that way.
I got you. There you see Mike Dowell over there on the far side, if you can see through my scribbling. But watch him come up the field and then come all the way across up underneath the defense. Here's Dowell. He breaks across now. Schrader, very effective, puts that ball right there. Gives his tight end a chance to catch the ball and run. He leads him just a little bit. A very nice shot by Schrader.
First and 10, Mueller getting the call and going absolutely nowhere. Stacked up by Warren Powers. On the right side of the Denver, the defensive front three. Solid play defensively. This was a much maligned defensive unit, but they turned it all around. Before last year, they were 25th in the league stopping the run. That's why they basically kept Mecklenburg on the inside. Now Dan Reeves feels so strong about his defense, he moves Mecklenburg to the outside for pass rushing capabilities.
And in the past, anytime they felt they had a weakness, the answer to that was put Mecklenburg there. Mecklenburg says, I'm glad I'm playing one position now because all I have to do is study one player. But I'm not so happy because they can run away from me and I'm not involved in every play.
Well, it's 2nd and 9 for the Raiders. Schrader throwing again. Powers almost gets to him. And it's intercepted by Braxton. Tyrone Braxton with the interception to the midfield stripe for the Denver Broncos. He wanted to go to Smith, who eventually made the tackle. Willie Gault in the same area.
Jay Schrader in a little bit of trouble, but shows his quick feet, comes out of it. You'll see Willie Gault come all the way across the field. Same pattern that Dial ran. Here comes Willie coming toward us, number 83. And at this point, he sees Willie, but he's not able to get Braxton.
10 yards on the return for Tyrone Braxton.
Player of the Year Award. And by Wheaties. Better get your whole grain. Better eat your Wheaties.
Denver Broncos on 1st and 10 from the 50, and Mobley are making K. Belted by the one they call the hitman in the secondary, Eddie Anderson for the Raiders.
There are certain things that you don't want to happen when you're running a pass over the middle, and one of them is to have the ball thrown way up high and just leave you stretched out like that. I think Clarence K lucky to get up after that pass, especially in the area by Eddie Anderson, who is a Jack Tatum-like hitter. Play showing how tough he is by bouncing back up, Clarence K.
2nd and 10 at the midfield stripe for Elway on his second series of the afternoon. Looked very strong in the first one before it stalled at the Raider 36, setting up the screen. Humphrey can't hang on. Difficult one to bring in for Bobby Humphrey. Plenty of pressure on both the running back and the quarterback. Howie Long getting in there early. Oh, look now at the 10-minute ticker. Chicago shutting out Seattle at home. While the Green Bay Packers comfortably in front of the L.A. Rams. A surprise, somewhat of a surprise, among your old team losing to the Kansas City Chiefs by 3.
I think Kansas City, a lot of people thought that this was the year they were going to get back and show that they were a real playoff contending team, and by beating the Vikings first week out, I think they're a team that that's going to be a contender.
And many felt the same about the Detroit Lions with their run and shoot offense, but they are pounded by Tampa Bay by 17. 3rd and 10 now for Elway and the Broncos. 3 wide receivers to one side for John. Plenty of time. Has a man, and it's just behind Ricky Nattiel. Gary Lewis, the rookie cornerback, a 7th-round draft choice for the Raiders out of Alcorn State. Defending in the secondary. Elway now only 2 of 7 in the early going for a total of 18 yards.
Well, if you give Elway that much time to throw the ball, you sort of think that you're in real trouble. The longer he holds that ball, the more you start thinking about that deep bomb. But the Raiders do an excellent job of containing Elway, keeping him in that pocket, and then do a great job of covering all the lanes downfield.
Mike Horan punting it away to the 1987 Heisman Trophy winner. Waiting back deep for the Raiders, Tim Brown. Horan got his first one to go out of bounds at the 8-yard line. This one, though, off the side of his foot, out of bounds, near the 20-yard line. So the former Long Beach State 49er on his return home, not happy with his second effort. Only a 29-yard punt, and the Raiders will have it once again offensively. This time better field position when we come back at their own 21, still scoreless in Los Angeles. Someone you will see a great deal of this year on NBC.
The
Magic Johnson.
The Magic Man. He told me that standing on the sideline, he fears for his life hearing those hits out there.
Raiders have it 1st and 10 at the 21. Vance Mueller bottled up in the backfield. Good lateral pursuit down the line by the Denver defensive front 7. Let's head to New York now for an update with Bob Costas.
Okay, Joel, on Houston's first possession in Atlanta, Lorenzo White fumbled. Falcons recovered at the 50, took it in from there. Drive capped by this 6-yard run from their #1 draft choice, the rookie running back from Washington State, Steve Broussard. Glanville leads his old mates 7-0 in the first. Back to Joel and Ahmad.
All right, Bob, thank you. We know it's difficult duty in those cool, comfortable confines of the studio at 30 Rockefeller Plaza. It is only 95 degrees up in the booth at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. Could be approaching 105 to 110. Down in the field of play. 2nd and 11. Schrader in trouble. Fletcher almost got him. Fletcher did have him in the grass. Back at the 5-yard line. Close to the 4. Simon Fletcher. And Carl Mecklenburg. Warren Powers also getting in there. But you've got to worry about 73 and 77.
Always, you end up trying to run away from Mecklenburg, who's on the right side, and all you do is run right back into Simon Fletcher, who is a very unheralded defenseman. He's a very big fellow. Looks like he could play a down defensive end, but he plays that stand-up linebacker. He can play either place, and he is a force.
Seems like he's only getting better in the prime of his career right now. Wants to lead the linebackers in sacks. Carl's on the outside now. Means he's really going to have to get after it.
Well, he's taking a pretty good start. He's got one already.
6 defensive backs in there now for the Broncos on 3rd and long for the Raiders. The delay goes nowhere. Steve Smith belts it out of the backfield. Check that. It was Vance Mueller, 5th-year man out of Occidental College. And an extra defensive back laid a hit on him. Kip Corrington.
Kip Corrington really came in and laid the old leather on him at the end of that play.
Got a couple of yards on the carry. A couple more yards for the punter.
A couple of more yards and a tremendous headache.
So the defensive front 3 looking strong at the outset, and that was possibly one of the concerns of the Broncos coming into the game. They got the Raiders back in a hole. Gossett punting from his own end zone, and Vance Johnson is back deep in the midfield stripe for the Broncos. Returnable type for Johnson from the 45. Running through traffic to the 45-yard line. A nifty 12-yard return by Johnson after a 47-yard punt by Jeff Gossett. 2:51 left in the first quarter. Still no score. At 12:30 Eastern with NFL Live, and then 2 of the AFC's top guns get together. Buffalo's Jim Kelly and the Dolphins' Dan Marino. So Mod Nile be in Miami at Joe Robbie Stadium for that phenomenal AFC Eastern Division matchup. A lot of you will see the second game of that doubleheader, the LA Raiders of the Kingdom taking on the Seattle Seahawks. So check your local listings for the game of the time in your area. NFL Live, we've got the lineup. Right now, the Denver Broncos have superior field position at the 45 to start their 3rd drive of the day. The LA 45, Bobby Humphrey, can he bounce outside? No, he does not get there. Tom Benson, along with Gary Lewis, showing good speed.
Bobby Humphrey trying to bounce this play outside, but the Raiders doing an excellent job. You know, their defense has played so well during the preseason, and if you can have a defense that can play steady like that, they always give you offensive time to get in sync. If they can just hold down these Broncos and give their offense a chance to get in sync. And talking to Jerry Robinson, he said, we have that feeling that we're all flying around trying to hit somebody that we had years ago.
A little bit on the line. It looked like Scott Davis, a free down coming up for Elway, or Mike Wise actually. On 2nd and 11, Mark Jackson has it for the first down to the 25-yard line. The 5th-year man from Purdue. 21 yards on the grab.
There are very few quarterbacks anywhere in the world that can throw a ball back right, rolling out left. If you watch Elway here, just a little bootleg out to the left part of the field, and watch him throw this ball back behind right on the money. Just a bullet. And there you see Scott Davis just a little bit ahead of time, giving Elway that free play. I'm sure he'll take that completion.
I don't know if there's anyone in the history of the game that's been able to throw that ball against the grain, rolling in that direction the way Elway can.
Without setting up. He threw it right on the run without stopping his feet.
1st and 10, best penetration of the day, and Bobby takes the big hit in the backfield. Howie Long got through. You never know where Howie's going to turn up. They list him as the starting defensive end, but he's all over the defensive front 4.
He moves around quite a bit, but boy, he was right on this snap count. You would have thought that he was in Denver's huddle right now as quick as he got off that ball.
Late game's just getting underway, and what a start for Jerry Glanville and his new team in Atlanta.
He's resurrecting that grits blitz that he had down there a few years ago when he was a defensive coordinator.
Minute 10 left in the first 15 minutes of play. 2nd, just about 13 for Elway. Going deep, he has his tight end open. Touchdown, no! It's yanked away from Clarence Kay by Jerry Robinson. It was there. Kay had to wait just a little bit on the ball, though.
It was just a great play by Jerry Robinson, who was obviously beat on the play, but the wily veteran, I hate to call anybody like that because it makes him sound old, but watch this play. He knows he's beat. He watches the ball going to Clarence's arm, and he pulls it out at the last minute. That's just a great play by Jerry Robinson.
Important to beat Denver, the defending AFC champions. Jerry Robinson told us they've been talking about Denver since 5 weeks ago, their first preseason game over in London.
John Elway thought that last play was a touchdown. Actually, I think he threw his hands up before Clarence Clay came down on the ground.
Dan Reeves was telling us yesterday that John Elway came into camp as prepared as he has ever been. And this is 8th season out of Stanford. Said he really worked hard during the offseason. He had 70% of his preseason passes, only had one picked off, and that was in the final game against the Phoenix Cardinals.
I think we're just seeing the maturation. He's maturing as a person and as a quarterback, because he just seems so relaxed now. I talked to him before the game, and he's just a much more relaxed and more effective quarterback, and that means trouble for anybody in the league if he's more effective.
Well, looking ahead, the kids are in school, footballs are in the air, the start of a new fall TV season is upon us. NBC's premiering some of their new shows this week in the hottest show, the surefire hit of the season. The show all the critics are right now talking about premieres tomorrow night on NBC. It's The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, followed by the series preview of Ferris Bueller. That's tomorrow night only on NBC. 3rd down and 13. Will they waste this great field position? Elway out of the shotgun, calls his own number on the quarterback draw. And he can't get the first down, only to the 25. The cornerback, Elvis Patterson, was keeping the play inside. Elway appeared to want to go outside with it and was deliberating. The indecision cost him. Eddie Anderson finally made the hit.
What the Broncos were trying to do was take advantage of the tremendous pass rush of the L.A. Raiders and try to let all the rush go by and then let Elway take off running through the middle of the field. But the Raiders, as you say, Elvis Patterson was waiting for him.
David Treadwell from the 42, the 32, it's a 42-yard attempt, and it's good. And the first points of the season come from the young man who led the AFC in scoring last year. Was also named to the Pro Bowl in his second year out of Clemson. David Treadwell with a 42-yard field goal. So they do not waste the great field position, starting their drive at the LA 45-yard line. Elway, though, would have preferred this 7. He thought he had it on that long pass to Clarence Kay. Asked Dan Reeves yesterday if he got any advice from Mike Ditka regarding the situation he experienced just a few weeks back, a heart ailment where he had a blockage in his arteries. Said he did not receive any advice, but feels better than ever.
All right, here you see that next to the last play, you see this hard rush by Townsend up there, and Elway will take the ball and come inside and try to get up the field that way. The big hard rush by Townsend outside. Elway tries to go underneath, but here comes Elvis Patterson and Eddie Anderson, and they just have it bottled up.
So the defending AFC champions that went 11-5 during the regular season last year, while the LA Raiders were 8-8. Take a 3-0 lead in the final minute of play in the first quarter. Treadwell will kick it away. The combination of Jamie Holland to your left, Ron Brown to your right. Plenty of speed for the Los Angeles Raiders. They can put together quite a track team with Grady, Brown, and Galt. Brown, a great wide receiver and kick returner for many years for the Los Angeles Rams. It'll be Jamie Holland, though, from his own goal line. Good kick coverage. He's penned in inside the 20, only back to the 16-yard line. Anthony Thompson, the first one down there for the Denver Broncos. So it's the third series for Jay Schrader and the Raider offense. And they have not enjoyed the field position they would desire at the outset of the contest. Started the first drive back at their 8th or 2nd of the 21. This time outside of their own 16. Schrader's already thrown one interception. If you've just joined us, it was picked off by Tyrone Braxton, the cornerback for the Denver Broncos. Broncos, though, with good field position so far in the first quarter, really haven't capitalized on the situation. Schrader for Willie Galt, and Galt's got it outside of the 20 to the 23 on the final play of the first quarter. So when we come back, the Raiders deep in their own territory, trailing by 3. Working the benches today for the Los Angeles Raiders, and welcome back to the Coliseum. Joel Myers along with Ahmad Rashad.
Well, that thing, the thing about that is it only cools off the players that are on the bench.
2nd and short. 2nd and 3 for the Raiders from their own 23. Greg Bell, his first carry of the season, and he's close to the first down. Not totally unexpected. A little pushing and shoving. Warren Powers, the combatant for the Denver Broncos.
Carl Mecklenburg, playing right in, number 77, says if they can run away from me all the time, that's the only thing I don't like. But watch him pursue this play. all the way from the right side. He makes a tackle on a play that goes off the guard opposite him. Mecklenburg is just an all-around force, and a guy that gave these Raiders a lot of concern coming into this game. Jerry Robisky said, we want to try to run away from him, but if we do that, we run into Simon Fletcher. If we run at him, he's a guy that we've really got to, we got to watch out for.
First quarter numbers almost identical, 3rd and inches. And the first down is picked up by Greg Bell. He's in his 7th year from Notre Dame. Led the Rams in rushing in each of the last 2 seasons, updating those scores once again on the 10-minute ticker. An impressive start for Jerry Glanville in his debut as the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. Miami with a couple of field goals, only down by a point now to the Patriots. San Diego and Dallas are tied up in the first. Great matchups. You see Indianapolis Buffalo tied. Also Pittsburgh Cleveland, 2 teams that are old rivals as well, getting together on the opening week of the season, just like the Broncos and the LA Raiders. 1st and 10 for Los Angeles. They're on 31-yard line. Play action for Jay Schrader. Moving the pocket, Fernandez with a completion, but a short gain. Wyman Henderson on the coverage, along with Tyrone Braxton.
Mervin Fernandez is a big play receiver, and a little play like this is something that keeps your confidence going, keeps your offense going, even though it was 5 or 6 yards. It's a plus play.
Makes it 31 straight. Swervin Mervin Fernandez, as he is called here in Los Angeles.
His wife Brenda is expecting a baby any day now.
2nd and 5 at the 36-yard line for the Raiders. Steve Smith this time carrying tacklers to the 39-yard line for a gain of 3. Greg Cragen making the hit up the middle for Denver.
I'm very concerned about Mecklenburg. Watch this. We got a little bit of grabbing and holding there. I guess if you can't block him, you got to hold him. When you're as good as Mecklenburg, you got to expect to get held every now and then.
Working up against Rory Graves, the left tackle out of Ohio State for the Raiders.
Rory had him wrapped up that last play.
A 3rd and short situation for the Raiders. This time at their own 39-yard line. They need to push it past the 41. Bell stays in there as the tailback. Schrader trying to get him to jump offside for the long count. It doesn't work. But Bell, with 2nd effort, gets the first down to the 42-yard line. Well, earlier today on NFL Live, the discussion centered around Mike Ditka, possibly retiring this year if the Bears win the Super Bowl. Will McDonough feels that Ditka, Parcells, and Gibbs may be in the final year of coaching, and Buddy Ryan will get a new contract from Norman Brayman. Al Davis, according to Will McDonough, will make a decision on the Raiders' home, whether it'll be L.A. or Oakland, within the next couple of weeks. Has to be pleased with the work of his defensive unit so far, but the offensive unit staggering in this heat in Los Angeles.
Al is only pleased that they win the Super Bowl.
Steve Smith, sizable game behind that big offensive line to the 47-yard line.
Carl Mecklenburg, you just can't watch a Denver game or watch a Denver defense without talking about Carl Mecklenburg. Watch this. He rushes up the field to try to rush the passer, but he never stops his pursuit angle. He just keeps going and going. And playing out at that right end spot, it's hard to make a tackle that goes up the middle. He said that he didn't like, and one of the things he didn't like about being outside was that he wasn't involved in every play. Well, that's quite the contrary here today.
Call it 2nd and a long 5. Bell goes in motion to lead the blocking for Smith. And the former Nittany Lion from Penn State doesn't get much. He's to the 49-yard line, and that is it. Simon Fletcher, the outside linebacker on the opposite side, getting Smith.
Simon Fletcher, if you go right, you get Fletcher. You go left, you get Mecklenburg. These are 2 impact players on this Denver Bronco team.
They're the strength of the Broncos defensive unit. There's no doubt about that. Sam Grady, Jim Brown into the contest now for the Los Angeles Raiders. 3 wide receivers for Schrader. On 3rd and 3 from the 49. The Scribes started back to their own 16-yard line. Movement on the line. It looked like they got the man on the nose to jump off. Ron Holmes. Mecklenburg also in early. Was there movement, though? Ron Holmes just signed this past week. Former #1 draft choice, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a long holdout for the Denver Broncos. Came over in a deal with Tampa Bay before the start of last season for a 4th-round draft choice.
False start prior to the snap. Number 60 offense. Still 3rd down.
Rory Graves and Mecklenburg, I think, maybe tried to psych him up a little bit, but watch his right hand. Just a little bit. He's ready to go. And you see that little move by Rory Graves, number 60, and Mecklenburg just takes off on that, and he gets the call.
So the 5-yard assessment goes against the Raiders, their 2nd mark off of the day. 4 wide receivers will stay in there for Jay Schrader and the Raiders. And Marcus Allen is the single set in the backfield, his first play of the season. Marcus also a holdout during the preseason. Pocket collapsing on Schrader, and Schrader goes down. Ron Holmes coming straight up the middle with the sack. The 2nd sack of the day for the Denver Broncos. Simon Fletcher had the first.
The Broncos put so much pressure on the outside with Fletcher and Mecklenburg that allows Holmes. It forces the quarterback to stay inside, and then Holmes comes right up the middle and makes the play. Expect him to do really well early on. He hasn't been in camp, as you mentioned earlier, so he's got those fresh legs early.
We saw that for the Raiders in that preseason game a couple of weeks ago when Greg Townsend had just reported to camp. Had all those sacks on that Friday night against Chicago at Soldier Field.
What we didn't know was Greg Townsend had been down in Houston working out with a guy named Tom Williams twice a day in that heat.
Vance Johnson staying away from the wobbler off the foot of Jeff Gossett. It's out of bounds. When we get back, Denver will have it with a 3-point lead. After only a 38-yard punt, they'll have it at their 25-yard line. Bob Golick told us yesterday he considers himself a stealth lineman because he moves around so quickly that no one can see him. We'll see if that applies this afternoon as we welcome you back to the Coliseum. The big defensive lineman for the LA Raiders. Right now the Broncos with it, 1st and 10 at their own 25 with the leg. Doesn't fool anyone with Steve Sewell out of the backfield. No gain on the carry. Greg Townsend knifing through to make the hit. Well, how does Bob Golick feel about his position? Well, he said if you're mad at your kid, you either raise him to be a nose tackle or send him out to play on the freeway. Just about the same. Nice approach to the position by Bob Golick. He's a treat to be around, and we talked to the Raider coaches. He's turned out to be a team leader. Fun player to have on the team. He's coming over from the Cleveland Browns. Also likes to think of himself as a nose backer. Loves to go in coverage occasionally. He's definitely a free spirit. Elway throwing on 2nd and 10, and it's way wide of the intended target. That may have been intentional. Sewell pretty well blanketed by Mike Harden. And Greg Townsend applying pressure in the backfield. Another look at scores around the NFL on this first Sunday of the season. A dominating performance so far by the Atlanta Falcons. And Cincinnati scoring against their former offensive coordinator, the New York Jets head coach Bruce Coslett. Elway now 3 of 10 for a total of 39 yards. Throwing on 3rd and almost 11. Pocket holds up. Going for Michael Young. Did he get both feet in? No. Bronco fans affectionately have a place in their heart for Young, remembering that big 70-yard touchdown catch in the AFC title game last year.
Michael Young. That's awful close. That's an old ex-receiver. I think he might have been in on that one because he certainly caught it right in his hands. There was no juggling at all. You need a Pro Bowl reputation to get that call. Make it to the Pro Bowl one year, then maybe you get the call next year.
Denver's used to timeout with Mike Oran on to punt. Maybe they're trying to send a message to the official. Please go upstairs and review that play. It doesn't appear to be the case. We'll be right back to the Coliseum in Los Angeles with LA ready to get the ball back. Downtown Los Angeles is Mike Oran set to punt it away for the Denver Broncos with Tim Brown waiting back for the Raiders, his own 35-yard line. And an effective punt by Oran, bobbled. Did Montgomery get down there to make the recovery? Does Denver have it? Yes. Alton Montgomery on the fumble recovery for the Denver Broncos. He's a rookie from the University of Houston.
Tim Brown just lost his ball, misplayed it. Watch it go over his shoulder. At that point, once that ball bounces on the ground, your chances of getting it are about nil because you have no idea which way it's going to bounce. Meanwhile, you got all kind of white jerseys flying in front of you, and it's just a great play by the Denver Broncos to come up with that ball.
Coaches told us yesterday, Alton Montgomery, the one that flies around everywhere in the special teams. His hustle really paid off. The delay for Bobby Humphrey. He is belted by Tom Benson. A loss of a yard back to the 27.
Tom Benson is a big hitter. Here Elway trying to hand the ball underneath, and Benson right in the hole. They want to just contain Bobby Humphrey. And Benson, Anthony Benson gets so psyched up, he wants to knock people out when he hits them. I think that's the natural attitude for a linebacker.
2nd and 11. Elway on the short drop, going behind his tight end.
When you talk about intensity, Ricky Ellison, number 50, is just like Benson.
And Steve Sewell.
It's too hot to fight, for one thing. It's hot enough to try to play football. You want to try to fight. It's way too hot. Now there's Ricky Ellison, number 50. They call him the vampire linebacker because he gets so fired up and he's drooling and chopping his feet and everything. The Raiders always seem to have a guy like that. They had Matt Millen earlier. Now they have Ricky Ellison.
4 wide receivers in the game for Elway, who's only 3 of 12. Has missed his last 4 straight. 3rd and 11. Pocket collapsing. Unloads it, and it's almost dropped and almost picked off as it is dropped. Gary Lewis scrambling over as Vance Johnson couldn't hang on. It's a couple we've seen drop now. Vance Johnson, 4th in the ASC in receptions last year with 76, dropping 2 in the early going today.
You see John Elway looking all the way at Vance Johnson, puts the ball just a little bit high, but Vance, being the receiver that he is, I think he feels like he should have caught that ball.
From the 34. It'll be a 44-yard attempt by David Treadwell. Out of the hold of Kubiak. It's got the distance. Does it have the direction? Yes. And Treadwell 2 for 2 so far this afternoon on the 44-yard field goal. 6:49 left in the first half. A 6-0 Denver lead. Exceptional field position so far this afternoon. Welcome back to the Coliseum. Joel Myers along with Ahmad Rashad, but defense has been the order of day.
Well, the Raiders haven't been able to get anything going offensively, but defensively they've kept themselves in the game by not letting the Broncos get a touchdown. I think if you can keep them getting those 3 points, it keeps your offense within striking distance, and that's what the defense of the Raiders is doing.
And right now, John Elway and the Denver Bronco offense completely out of sync because they have enjoyed great field position. As we get ready for the kickoff, Treadwell. Back deep, Ron Brown. Along with Jamie Holland, it'll be Holland taking it from inside his own 5. And blockers out in front for the former San Diego Charger with a flag down on the play. Flags down to the play. Holland down as well. Just short of the 34-yard line. But flags way back at the 25, and it's going to go against Los Angeles. Jerry Seaman, our referee, working today's contest. 6:38 left in the first half. A 6-0 Denver lead.
Holding during the return. Number 88 receiving team. First down.
Boy, Dan Turk, number 67, just put Elliott Smith, number 28, on his back on that play. And there's the culprit in the holding, Ethan Horton. The Raiders still unable to start these drives. They keep starting too deep in their own territory.
This is back at their 16-yard line. Their previous 3 possessions starting from their own 8, 21, and 16-yard lines. Steve Berline, who just signed a couple of weeks ago with the Los Angeles Raiders, one of their 2 inactives. They have a 2-week exemption when somebody is signed that late. Now, they will determine later next week whether or not they want to use both weeks for Steve Berline, but he is in his civvies today on the sideline. The backup quarterback But the LA Raiders is Vince Evans, the former USC Trojan. Malfunction down in the field with some of the technical equipment.
That's not an official there in that Hawaiian shirt, is it?
I like the garb if it is.
He certainly got the right idea.
All we're missing today are the trade winds. We've got the heat like we're on the islands. Raiders come out with Steve Smith and Greg Bell in the backfield, trailing by 6. So the play clock is the problem. It is not functioning right now. The Raiders come out first and 10 at their own 16. Steve Smith with breathing room to the 22. Let's head to New York once again and an update from Bob Costas in the studio.
Joel, in Atlanta, it's a Jerry Glanville fantasy. Home debut, sellout crowd against his old team, the Oilers, and doing it the way he likes his teams to, with aggressive defense. This looked like one where the whistle might have blown, but even Jesse Tuggle of Atlanta wasn't sure. They said, keep on going. It is a Warren Moon fumble. Atlanta forced fumbles the first 3 times Houston had the ball. One set up a TD. The other 2 were returned for scores. 21-0 Falcons.
Thank you, Bob. 2nd and 4, the cutback runner, Greg Bell.
And I mentioned earlier that these Raiders are going to go to the no-huddle offense, and that's exactly what they've gone to now. And it's not there's Steve Berline looking rather cool on the sideline. Sorry. But it's not, as you can see, it's not a hurry-up offense. It's just a no-huddle offense, and it keeps the same 11 players in the defense in the game.
Schrader with time, throwing it away. His receiver slipped down, broken the pattern, Willie Gault. And you knew it would develop before long because Jay Schrader was not exactly accepted by Raider fans last year. They really took to Steve Berline. On the top side of the field, you see Steve Berline working one-on-one, and he's open a little bit late. Got to be frustrating. Mervin Fernandez showed his exasperation. 2nd and 10 now. Out of the 26 for LA. Over the middle, Steve Smith hung out to try by his quarterback, Michael Brooks. Applying the hit, the inside linebacker. And don't forget, coming up at halftime, scores and highlights from other games around the NFL with Bob Costas, Will McDonough, and O.J. Simpson, the NFL Live crew. We've got 5:23 left in the first half at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. This Raider offense is a big play offense, and they have not had but one big play. The pass to Mike Dial early on in the game, as you look at Jerry Robisky, who handles the play calling of this Raider offense, but they've got to go downfield. That's what they want to do. They want to come deep at you and put the pressure on you right now, and they haven't done that at all. 3rd and 10, Tim Brown in the game. Maybe they will do it. It's Ethan Horton, the tight end. He's right at the first down marker at a yard beyond, so he does pick up the first down on the toss from Jay Schrader. Ethan Horton has done an incredible job to work his way back into the NFL. A former first-round pick of the Chiefs as a running back in '85, bulked up and is now a tight end for the Raiders. He's been cut a couple of times by LA, but really persevered. First down to the 37-yard line. Jay Schrader only completed 43% of his passes during the preseason. Take it a step further. Last year, only 44% of his passes were completed. He started 9 of the games for Los Angeles. Steve Smith bowling his way for good yardage. Showing patience, too, to the 43. Injured Bronco down is Mark Mumford, one of the most active linebackers. One of the best special teams players as well in his 4th year from Nebraska. Hopefully it is not of the serious nature. We'll find out when we come back at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. Mark Mumford, the linebacker, injured. They're looking at his left leg right now, lower area around the knee for the Denver Broncos. 2nd, just about 4 for Schrader. Pocket holds up. He's got time and has Fernandez for a first down to the 34-yard line. One of the few times in a while they've really looked far downfield.
Well, now you're getting a chance to see this vertical offense that you hear about these Raiders. They like to go down the field. Here's Mervin Fernandez. This is about a 22-yard pattern. He just breaks in, and Schrader hits him right off of his cut. Great catch there with his hands. There you see Mervin Fernandez. He's going to run down here and bring the pass in here. Schrader will drop back and hit him right on the cut. There you go. Nice catch in the hands.
First and 10 of the Denver 34. Willie Gault delivered a crushing blow, could not hang on. It's an incomplete pass on the attempt from Schrader. Wyman Henderson. Gault had to step up that ladder, really got underneath him.
One of the safest times as a wide receiver is when you jump, because you have no resistance. It's tough when your both feet are on the ground. That's when you have some resistance going forward, and the defensive back has resistance. It's coming with that force at you. Then the collisions are a lot bigger. But when you're up off the ground, there's no force. You see Willie Gault? See it? That's just like messing around in the backyard. That doesn't hurt.
Second and 10 now for the Raiders inside the 35 of Denver. Fernandez in motion. And again, no pressure on Schrader. Coming late now up the middle. Schrader's in the grass, but he's down. They call him in the grass. And he's sacked back by Greg Cragen. Forget about the completion to Mike Dial. They've got him back at the 41-yard line.
Jay Schrader obviously in the grass. He showed you how strong his arm is. Watch him get wrapped up here by Cragen and still get this ball up. This is a long throw. That's all arm. It's also third down.
Third sack of the afternoon for the Denver Broncos. Holmes with one, Powers with one, or actually Holmes with one, Fletcher, and now Greg Cragen. And a timeout has been called. 2 minutes and 55 seconds left in the first half. You're right back to see what the Raiders do on third and long, trailing by 6. Timeouts remaining for the two teams, and a real blow to the Denver defense. We just learned that Mark Mumford has received a sprain to the left knee and may not be able to return this afternoon. Vance Mueller, the only one in the backfield for the Raiders. On third and long. Third, close to 16. Schrader going deep. And it's almost intercepted by Dennis Smith. Mervin Fernandez, the intended target. Good timing by Smith.
This is a tough ball to catch. You see the ball up in the air. The receiver does, Mervin Fernandez. And he also can feel Dennis Smith coming across. He doesn't know if Dennis Smith's going to go for him or the ball. That's a ball that Dennis Smith thinks he should have caught him. And maybe he should have caught it. But if he would have caught it, maybe he'd be a wide receiver.
Broncos have called the timeout before the punt of Jeff Gossett. When we talked to Dan Reeves yesterday, I asked him about Dennis Smith and what the emergence of Steve Atwater has meant to his career, because a couple of years ago, even 3 seasons ago, it seems like at times they were picking on Dennis Smith. Well, it's turned out that Atwater has been good for Smith, and Smith has been good for Atwater. They've really played off each other very well. Almost like they brought energy and enthusiasm to each other in their play in the secondary. Well, tonight, following the contest, NBC News presents a special, The Summit in Helsinki. Watch Tom Brokaw for continuing coverage and a complete wrap-up of world events on the summit and the Persian Gulf crisis. That is tonight, following football. And as well on NBC at halftime, it'll be Bob Costas, O.J. Simpson, Will McDonough, the NFL Live team. The scores and highlights. And some surprises in week number 1, namely Tampa Bay pounding Detroit 38-21. Kansas City also slipping past Minnesota 24-21. Jeff Gossett in to punt it away as Vance Johnson waits for the Broncos back at his own 10-yard line. 2 minutes and 48 seconds left in the first half. handling it for the sideline. Does he get it out of bounds inside the 5? Yes, he does. Great effort by Gossett. Pinning the Broncos back at their own 3-yard line. A 37-yard kick. Finals now on this opening Sunday of the season. A shutout for the Bears. Green Bay trailing early, came from behind to beat the Rams. It's that final we were just talking about. Kansas City by 3 at home. One of the biggest surprises, Tampa Bay easily beating Detroit. And another whitewash for the Washington Redskins. A dream come true for Jerry Glanville. And New England pulling away early from Miami. That has to be considered a surprise. Elway in the offense operating from back of their own 3-yard line. Bobby Humphrey does a good job to get back to the 3. So we are winding our way down to the 2-minute warning. The Broncos with 1 timeout remaining in the first half. Broncos, though, in the second quarter have yet to pick up a first down, even though they have the only score so far in the second quarter. Here, no one took anything out of his backyard after he took over from Mike Shanahan. The Raiders had a perfect 6-0 record at home. You don't let someone come in and chase you around in your own backyard. Really emphasized that yesterday in talking to us over the Raiders camp in El Segundo. It's a quiet confidence about this team since Archell has taken over. Much looser group. They're playing off a lot of positives in camp. Their best preseason since 1977. They were 4-1 during the preseason. The Broncos coming off a 3-2 preseason mark.
Which neither one of those counted. Now it's for the real thing.
You got it. Exactly 2 minutes left in the first half. Denver operating on 2nd and 10 from their own 3. And so many of the players believe in Archell. We'll get to that in just a second.
Both start prior to the snap. Center.
To what extent do they believe in Archell? Jerry Robinson would follow him anywhere. To war, Ahmad. A lot of confidence because of Archell. And there he was just talking to the former general manager of the San Diego Chargers. He's back to the Raiders now, Steve Hortmeyer. Second and long after the penalty. Elway throwing it. Vance Johnson not close.
Here you're going to watch. Just watch how quick Howie Long is off the ball. His first step, he's already past the guy in front of him. He's got to have help. You cannot block Howie Long with one man. He has not lost any quickness since the day he came into this league. And he just is a nightmare for anybody trying to block him. He's so persistent.
Minute 54 left in the first half. Raiders have not had to use their final timeout. Clock stopping on the incompletion. Elway almost not prepared for that snap out of the shotgun. Johnson doesn't have a prayer. That would have been overthrown had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar been the wide receiver on that pattern. Gary Lewis defending on the play. And good pressure again.
One of the things that always amazes me as I watch these big fellas move. Howie Long is just, you know, not only quick but powerful. If he doesn't get around you with quickness, he goes over you with power. One of the premier defensive linemen in all of football.
Not much room for the punter to work with. Let's see if the Raiders come up with a big play on the special team. Mike Horan. Punting it to Tim Brown. Just barely gets it away and sends out a beauty. High spiral that Brown will take back at his own 45. And again, Alton Montgomery, the first one down there on the special teams for the Denver Broncos. Countering Tim Brown after a 54-yard punt by Horan and only a 7-yard return. Looking ahead to our second Sunday of the season. Ahmad Nile be down in Miami at Joe Robbie Stadium for the matchup between the Bills and the Dolphins. Second half, it'll be the Raiders, Seahawks for many of you. Plus regional action. So check your local listings for the game and the time in your area. And don't forget about it all starting with NFL Live at 12:30 Eastern. Raiders getting them back with one timeout to work with. A minute 37 left on the first half clock. And they get it at the Denver 48-yard line. The first time they have started a drive today in Denver territory. Mueller, the only one in the backfield, gets it. An interesting call. Stacked up at the 44. Dennis Smith in the secondary, along with Scott Curtis, who is filling in now with the injured Mark Mumford.
Again, 4 yards. Second down and 6.
Second and 6 now. Inside the Denver 45. Schrader with ample time. Over the middle, Galt can't hang on. Well-timed hit by Wyman Henderson.
Willie Galt with a breaking pattern over the middle, and Schrader putting that ball just so he could make the catch, and Willie not able to hang on to it. You watch Willie driving on the defensive back, little out move, and then comes across the middle, and watch the ball arrive just before the defender. That's got to be a catch. Got to catch that one. You have to make plays in a big play offense.
Third and a long 6 for the Raiders in Denver territory. Schrader again with time, and a wide open Tim Brown drops it. Brown got behind Tyrone Braxton. That is 5 drops now by the Los Angeles Raiders.
Jay Schrader cannot do any better than he's done in the last 2 throws. This ball here to Tim Brown, nobody around him, just gets right through his hands. And the only thing he could do better is run the ball out there and hand it to him, which is illegal. But I know Tim Brown knows he should have caught that ball. He's not having a great day at this point. He's dropped a punt early on and then just dropped that big pass. You got to have these big plays. The Raider offense is predicated on making the big plays.
Vance Johnson calling for the fair catch, has it cleanly. Back at his 8-yard line on the punt from Jeff Gossett. So the Raiders waste their best field position of the day starting that last drive at the Denver 48-yard line. And now don't forget, Denver has one timeout remaining with that 6-0 lead. And still plenty of time with a quarterback like John Elway. Trying to keep that confidence level up, aren't they, Ahmad?
Well, you can be upset with yourself for dropping a pass, but you just got to get over it. We got a lot of time to play here, and he'll have another opportunity. And I think that what Fernandez, being the veteran that he is telling him, hey, you'll get another shot. There's nothing you can do to get that one back.
Elway playing it safe on the pitch to Bobby Humphrey. Good pursuit down the line by the front 7 of the L.A. Raiders. It's a gain out to the 11-yard line. Howie Long, one of the first ones in there. So it's obvious the Denver Broncos are content because of the field position they're in right now. Back around their own 10-yard line to take it into the locker room with a 6-point lead. Both coaches have to be concerned, though, with all the drops offensively and the lack of consistency and timing between their quarterbacks and their wide receivers. It is early, though. Only the first 30 minutes of the season for the Denver Broncos and the L.A. Raiders. But on the positive side, Ahmad, the defense has been outstanding for both teams.
Well, I don't think it's been so much as timing. They've been dropping balls. The timing's there. They've been wide open. It's just you got to catch the ball.
6-0 lead at halftime for the Denver Broncos.
Welcome back to those of you watching the Bronco Raider or Charger Cowboy games. Bob Costas in New York. Let's quickly take you through the finals from the games played earlier today. You recall the Bears ended the season last year with 6 straight losses, and Mike Ditka's defense fell apart. They averaged 32 points yielded per game in that stretch. Today, they were equal to the task defensively and good enough offensively. Neil Anderson, great catch here, hauling in the throw from Jim Harbaugh. Anderson ran for 2 touchdowns, had 101 yards overall. They limited the Seahawks to 6 first downs and shut them out 17-0. Don Mikowski signed this week, but he's not ready to play. His replacement, lightly regarded Anthony Dilweg, threw for 3 touchdowns against the Rams, including this 47-yarder to Jeff Query. The Rams turned the ball over 5 times, and they lose 36-24 at Lambeau Field. How hot was it at Arrowhead? 130 on the AstroTurf, and the Chiefs came from behind to beat Minnesota. Late touchdown by Christian Okoye, last year's rushing leader, who got 92 yards today. The 2-yard plunge gives Kansas City the win over the Vikings, 24-21, despite a pair of Herschel Walker touchdowns. Andre Ware, the Heisman Trophy winner, didn't suit up today for the Lions. He watches another former Heisman winner, Vinny Testaverde, have a big day for Tampa Bay. 3 TD passes, including this one to Gary Anderson. 6 Lion turnovers helped the Bucs win it and upset 38-21. Sad homecoming for Joe Bugle at RFK. The former Redskin assistant watched his Cardinals stink the joint out. Deflected pass into the arms of Alvin Walton. 1 of 4 picked off against Tim Rosenbaugh. 5 Phoenix turnovers overall. 3 Mark Rippon touchdown passes. The Redskins romp 31-0. Now on to scores of games in progress. They're late in the first half at Cleveland. Pittsburgh is leading the Browns 3-0. They've sacked Bernie Kosar 3 times. In the game some of you were watching, David Treadwell with a pair of long field goals. Broncos leading over the Raiders at the half at the Coliseum 6-0. In Atlanta, even in his wildest dreams, Jerry Glanville couldn't have hoped for this. 3 straight times at the beginning of the game, the Oilers fumble. The first one sets up a Falcon touchdown. The next 2 are returned for touchdowns by Bobby Butler and Jesse Tuggle. That swarming defense is doing it. Sellout crowd for Glanville's home debut against his old teammates, no less. The place is rocking, and the Falcons are leading 27-0. The Jets are in front at Riverfront 10-3 at halftime. Ken O'Brien has thrown a 46-yard touchdown pass to Al Toon. Buffalo gets 3 Scott Norwood field goals and a Jim Kelly touchdown pass, and they lead over Indianapolis without Eric Dickerson 16-3 at halftime there. Miami is at New England. Miami has lost 5 straight season openers. The Patriots have won 6 straight openers. They've now moved to the 3rd quarter, and the Pats, with Steve Grogan throwing 2 touchdown passes, are in front 21-13. And San Diego is playing at Dallas, the game some of you are watching. The Cowboys have lost 26 of their last 28, and they trail at home in this one 14-7. And we go back to the game you're watching following these messages from your local stations.
Welcome back to the Coliseum in Los Angeles, where the Denver Broncos, the defending AFC champions, have a 6-0 lead over the Los Angeles Raiders. It has been a day dominated so far by the 2 defensive units. Both quarterbacks, for the most part, looking out of sync. Schrader started to come on a little bit over the final 5 minutes of the first half, but then all of a sudden we saw a ton of drop balls by the L.A. Raiders. Now the 2 teams head into the halftime locker room. Joel Myers along with Ahmad Rashad. What is going on at this point in the halftime locker room?
Well, I think what at the halftime locker room, they just want to get half better play. Both teams need to play a little bit better. But what you're seeing is a Denver team who is a champion. They know how to win. Then they at least got some points up on the board. In terms of the Raiders, they just, like I said earlier, they have no continuity to their offense. And if you're a big play offense, you must make big plays. Denver has kept them from doing that. Therefore, they're leading the game 6-0.
And there was some concern when we talked with Art Shell yesterday regarding his offense, and in particular, the passing attack. He felt pretty solid about his running game, Ahmad, but didn't have that same encouragement when we talked about the pass.
Well, there's no way that you can coach catching the football, and Art knows that better than anything. The only thing you can do is provide protection for your quarterback, give him time to throw the ball. Well, Schrader has had time. It's just that they have not made that big play, and I expect that to change. You just got to keep going back to trying to do the things that you want to do to win a game, and that's throw the ball down the field.
It is somewhat surprising, though, as Ahmad pointed out, when you watch 30 minutes of Los Angeles Raider football and you don't see a post pattern.
Well, maybe not so much a post pattern, but even the little short ones that they got to throw, you got to catch those, because those are the things that keep your offense. Anytime you can do something offensively that is positive, even little things, it goes into the big scheme of things, and it enables you to come up with a big play. They haven't been able to do it.
And give a lot of credit to the defensive front for the Los Angeles Raiders, because Bobby Humphrey has not been able to get off in the early going as well for the Broncos.
But when we talked about the Broncos knowing how to win, they still have put some points up on the board, and I expect to see both teams really unleash it and get going in the second half.
Well, you sound like Jerry Robinson, because Jerry Robinson said they do know how to win, and for the LA Raiders to be successful, they've got to go through Denver.
I sound like Jerry Robinson? They do have to go through Denver. I mean, Denver, you know, a lot of people think about the Broncos as a team that's lost in the Super Bowl, but not many people realize or know what it takes to get to that Super Bowl. The Broncos do.
And talking about the Super Bowl, Carl Mecklenburg mentioned to us yesterday there is really no residual lingering effect from that blowout, a 55-10 loss to the San Francisco 49ers. They're a week-to-week team, and they're very positive.
In football, there is no carryover for anything. Even if you win the Super Bowl, you get to celebrate for a while, but once the season starts, it's wide open. It is wide open again, but the teams you got to give credit to the ones that are always around the top, and the Broncos are one of those teams.
For many seasons, the AFC West has been considered a weak link in the AFC. Recently, though, now, with the emergence of the LA Raiders, Bobby Beathard moving down as the GM of the San Diego Chargers, things are looking to appear on the rise right now.
Well, the thing about Beathard, he can't play, though. That's the thing. I mean, it probably looks good in the front office, but you got to get out on the field and do it, and that's what the Raiders have to do if they want to get back to where they were early on in the 70s.
Defensively, the Raiders looking like the old Raiders, at least on that side of the line. That old aggressive intimidation, hard-hitting attack, playing very physical football. Now we'll find out in the second half if they can generate some points on the board. The secondary doing a good job in the early going for the Denver Broncos. Jamie Holland back deep along with Ron Brown, the former Olympic sprinter, as Treadwell gets into it, and the second half is underway at the Coliseum. It'll be taken by Holland at the 11. And he's brought down to the 30-yard line. Randy Robbins, the reserve safety, making that hit on the special teams as we look at the first half numbers.
As you look at those numbers, I guess the only thing that jumps up on you, which is not there, is just the score. Basically, the Raiders have been able to rush the ball 62 yards as opposed to the Broncos 33. And they've thrown the ball 108 yards to 67 for the Broncos. But like I say, the big statistic is the score, and that has Denver in the lead 6-0.
Marcus Allen, only one in the backfield, saw very little time in the first half, and it skipped into the breadbasket of Mervin Fernandez by Jay Schrader.
That's a pass that Schrader would like to have back. Just the ball faded away. You see Fernandez, just a little slant pattern, timing route. The ball bounces just before it gets to him. It's just a little route that you run down and you just kind of break in between the cornerback and the safety and expect the ball in stride.
Schrader had 5 drops. When you look at those numbers, 5 of 13 for 75. Throwing once again on 2nd and 10. Trying to set up the screen. Allen on the reception, breaking the tackle and picking up the first down. Across the 40 to the 42.
We have talked about all-around running backs. Marcus Allen is one of the best in the business at running, blocking, receiving, and making something happen. Just a little screen pass to the left. Marcus, watch him use the blocker in front of him. He waits and then takes off to the outside and picks up all the other yardage on his own. Marcus had a bit of a muscle pull during training camp and didn't get a lot of playing time, but the Raiders say it didn't matter. We know what Marcus can do.
1st and 10 for the Raiders, their own 42. The delay to Marcus Allen. Jitterbugging his way to the outside. Big yardage for Allen into the secondary. All the way to the Denver 30-yard line near the 29. A gain of 29.
Marcus Allen, who does not have the blazing speed, knows this field so well. This play was supposed to go inside. He takes it outside, uses blockers very well, and then cuts back across the field. A little slip there, or Marcus would have gone a lot further. But in a big play offense, you got to have a big play player, and Marcus Allen is just that.
They spotted at the 30, where it's 1st and 10 for the Raiders in Bronco territory. Schrader for Willie Gault. Hangs on this time at the 12-yard line.
The very same pass play that he tried to throw to Fernandez, just a little short break-in pattern. You'll see Willie Gault come down, and it's not a hook pattern. It's just a pattern that Willie Gault will use his speed to move the defense back and then stop right there in the corner. And Schrader put it right there. There's no way he could have dropped that one. I think it probably went halfway through his chest.
Wyman Henderson was defending the play. It was good for 18 yards on the completion, and very quickly they started at their own 30. And the Raiders now have it at the Broncos' 12-yard line. Allen gets the call, gets a block to the outside. Atwater, the last form of containment, pulls him down to the 9.
Marcus Allen has brought some excitement into this crowd, and he seems to be having a little bit of problems with his footing. A little slip there, but he just has the ability to find a hole, bounce way outside, and keep getting that positive yardage.
Tussle going on in Cleveland. Buffalo moving ahead of Indianapolis now as we look at the Hertz 10-minute ticker.
New England big over the Dolphins, 21-6.
Allen stays in the backfield with Steve Smith on 2nd and 7 from the 9-yard line of Denver. Best penetration of the day for the Raider offense. Allen following Smith. Only a yard.
Marcus Allen, who you saw leave the field early in the first half, got 10 stitches over his eye, looking a little bit like Mike Tyson. You've been on top of the boxing world, who got a bunch of stitches over his eye. Marcus back in the ball game now and providing the punch that's brought this Raider offense down inside the 10-yard line.
Raiders have had the ball for the first 3.5 minutes of the second half. But right now facing third and still a long 6, close to 7. Schrader with pressure coming. Finds Dial. Doesn't get the first down. What a hit by Atwater.
It's a very good play by Schrader, who felt the blitz coming and picked his tight up in right away. You see Schrader get the ball out to Dial, and Dial trying to get that first down, and here comes Atwater, who really unloads on him. Watch the end of this play. Atwater is a big hitter. The Raiders, 4th down and 2 yards, and they are going to go for it.
The crowd is on its feet now at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. A gamble early in the second half by Archell in L.A. Schrader in trouble into the end zone behind Ethan Horton, and Denver holds. Good pursuit of the quarterback, though, by Simon Fletcher.
Simon Fletcher put instant pressure on Schrader. If he would have had more time, it was a play that they wanted to call where they bring Schrader outside. He can either run or throw the pass, and it's an incomplete pass. A pretty good gamble.
The heat got to the Raiders. They come up empty. Denver Broncos have it back. 1st and 10 of their own 4-yard line. So the gamble, maybe not the most judicious decision by Archell and the Raiders, does not pay off, as the tight end is wide open for John Elway. Orson Mobley out across the 10. Let's look back on that play. The 4th and 2 situation. Back at the 4-yard line.
Well, we were going to take a look at it. Here it is. You see both the backs and the Raider offense going this way. Schrader coming this way. Then you'll see Mecklenburg here, Atwater here, break through and put the pressure on Schrader. He had to throw the ball before he wanted to. Had to throw it a little bit behind the receiver. And they didn't convert that 4th down.
Bobby Humphrey gets the first down on his first carry of the second half, just barely across the 15-yard line. Ricky Ellison, the inside linebacker, combining on the hit with the strong safety Mike Harden.
The Raider defense has been playing very well, so in thinking about that gamble, you think if you don't get the first down, as we look at Marcus Allen putting a little ice on his head right where he got those 10 stitches at halftime, but if you don't get the first down, then you hope your defense can hold, and you still got pretty good field position.
Humphrey starting in motion, gets the pitch. Getting blocks to the outside. Not much yardage available, though. Out to the 18, near the 19 for about 4. Second year out of Alabama.
Mike Harden the safety who played so long for the Denver Broncos, coming up to make that stop. He is very, very familiar with this Denver offense, having practiced, having probably played against this offense more than anybody in football every day in practice. And anytime that you leave one team, the onus on playing them is you want to show them that they made a mistake. So he is one fired-up football player against these Broncos today.
Second and just about 7 on the play action for Elway. Townsend got him with one hand. Greg Townsend with a sack for the Raiders. Before we look at that play, let's go to Bob Costas for an update in our studios in New York.
Jolie was the #1 pick in the entire draft, and here's a look at Jeff George's first official NFL touchdown pass. The great veteran, formerly of the New England Patriots, Stanley Morgan, makes a leaping catch, 25-yard TD hookup, and at Buffalo, Indianapolis creeps to within 6 at 16-10. Joel?
All right, Bob, Ahmad, just what you were alluding to, that great defensive pressure paying off if they can hold on third down now. They should get field position out of it. 4 wide receivers setting up for Elway, throwing out of his own end zone. And it's intercepted. Touchdown, Jerry Robinson. Trying to get to Steve Sewell. The great pressure paid off. And the defense scores the first points of the day for the LA Raiders. Former NFL Rookie of the Year with the Philadelphia Eagles back in 1979. Played his college ball right on this field for the UCLA Bruins. Jeff Jager in for the point after try. The Raiders take their first lead of the afternoon. We'll be right back to the red-hot Coliseum in Los Angeles, with Los Angeles on top by a point.
A great play here by Howie Long, who will get double teamed but break through the pressure, put all the pressure on Elway, which will cause him to throw this interception. Watch Howie Long break through 3 guys, puts the pressure on Elway, who lets it go a little soon. Jerry Robinson standing right there and prances into the end zone. Big play by Jerry Robinson, who has been rejuvenated with these new young players that the Raiders have. He said it's like playing on the Raiders of old with these guys flying around the field. And they do need some leadership, and they're getting it from Jerry Robinson.
Sammy Winder and Alton Montgomery waiting for the kickoff from Jeff Jager. A very short one. Will be taken by an up man across the 35 to the 40. And bringing it back, Melvin Bratton, the fullback, in his second year out of Miami.
Now, here is some great linebacker play. Jerry Robinson watching the eyes of Elway. He'll back up and watch Elway all the way, make the interception here, and then take it in for the TD. Watch Jerry Robinson. He's watching Elway the entire way, just as if they were playing catch.
So the Raiders have the lead with 7 minutes and 40 seconds left in the third quarter. Elway now only 4 of 17 in the passing department. Bobby Humphrey gets the call, and Greg Townsend gets the stop.
Greg Townsend, a man that they sent down to a training camp down in Houston to lose weight, went down there and put on 15 pounds of solid muscle, and he is a nightmare on anybody trying to block him. And when he first broke into the league, all they talked about is pass rushing abilities, but he has turned into an all-around defensive end.
Townsend led the AFC in sacks 2 years ago. He was 5th in the AFC last season. Wrapped up Bobby Humphrey. He's now got only 22 yards on 11 carries. The young man that rushed for better than 1,150 yards last year. Second and close to 7 for Elway. Well, he is now 2 for his last 11. He hits his wide receiver, Mark Jackson, and he's got a first down for the Broncos. Jackson found that little seam.
Elway's a guy you keep quiet for a minute, but when he gets noisy, that's when he really causes a problem. I don't think you ever shut out a guy like Elway. It's only happened a couple times in Super Bowl situations, but any other time, once he gets rolling, he is always dangerous.
They're in Raider territory at the 47. Art Shell mentioned to us yesterday, he said Elway is going to get his plays. He's just trying to hold him to a minimum. He's going to make things happen, though. Humphrey, Bratton in the backfield. Play action for Elway on 1st and 10. He's got room to roam, but there's a flag in the air. Normally where you see a holding call. He's out of bounds at the 40-yard line after a scramble for 7. It's defensive holding on the Raiders. That'll also bring an automatic first down.
Oh, the holding was very obvious, if we can take a look at that.
Jerry Seaman, the referee this afternoon, clarifying it with the umpire. The head linesman, Aaron Pointer, already in there. His umpire, Ron Bochin.
Holding prior to the pass, number 50 defense, first down.
Ricky Ellison just... Ricky Ellison right here. He will try to cover this back here. He can't cover him. I guess if you don't want to get beat for a touchdown, this is what you do. Watch Ricky Ellison. Well, I can't cover him. Maybe I'll just grab a hold of him and tag along for the ride.
It is a first down for the Broncos at the 42-yard line of the Raiders. Humphrey on the misdirection. Throwing the ball and overthrowing Bratton, who was tangled up going downfield with Gary Lewis, the cornerback. Tom Benson was coming in on Bobby Humphrey. A little razzle-dazzle from the Broncos.
Anytime you do things like this, and Dan Reeves is, you know, the Dallas Cowboys used to do a lot of stuff like that, and it wasn't so much razzle-dazzle as really a part of their play calling. It's a play that they practice a lot on in practice. They use it a lot. It's not just something that they go, let's see if we can trick them. It's actually a good play. They spend a lot of time on it, and it almost worked.
2nd and 10 from the 42 for the Broncos. As Sewell splits out as a wide receiver. Elway with time, but Howie Long's applying pressure. Elway with the speed to get outside. Make something out of nothing all the way down to the 37.
As you see, Howie Long chasing him all the way out of bounds.
Let's check the Hertz 10-minute ticker once again. Finals you expected. Some surprises as well, like the Tampa Bay score. Phoenix is yet to win for Joe Bugel. Didn't win during the preseason. They dropped their final 6 games of last year's regular season. Many are feeling that Phoenix will supplant the Dallas Cowboys in the cellar this year in the NFC's Eastern Division. Big third down now for the Broncos. 3rd and 5 at the 37 of Los Angeles. Elway underthrows his man, and he had him. He wanted to go to Vance Johnson. There are flags down, though. And actually, it turns out to be a break for Elway and the Broncos. A delay of game, so the play never officially started. They'll get another crack at it now on 3rd down. Instead, it'll be 3rd and 10. Ricky Nattiel in there for one of the few times this afternoon. 4 receivers for Elway out of the shotgun. Over the middle, intercepted. Picked off by former Bronco Mike Harden. Elway looking for Natil.
And Mike Harden told us yesterday that during the course of practice, he would play so many games with John Elway, trying to read his eyes, trying to figure out which way he's going, and he felt very confident that he was up on that. You see Elway looking downfield, Harden trying to play Elway, and the ball thrown a little bit in front. Harden makes the interception.
The Raiders have it back, leading by a point. He was released by the Denver Broncos last September, promptly picked up by the LA Raiders. He led the Broncos in interceptions 5 straight seasons, and he's got his first interception of the year. John Elway has been picked off twice now on the only 2 series that he has had the ball in the second half this afternoon. Napoleon McCallum, his first carry of the day. Been out of football since 1986. Takes it across the 35 to the 36. Another look at the Hurt 10-minute ticker. Shutout for the Bears. Well, the Packers won at home. Kansas City by 3, also at home. And the other finals we've discussed. Some others still in progress. At Cleveland, a tight one between the Browns and the Steelers. And Miami on a roll. Right back in it in the third quarter in Foxborough. 2nd and 6 for Schrader and the Raiders. Can't get away. Second sack of the day for Warren Powers, the 4th overall for the Denver Broncos. All the way back to the 25-yard line.
It appeared that Jay Schrader had a lot of time. He couldn't find an open receiver. You'll see him set here. The offensive line doing a very good job. He just can't find anybody downfield, and Powers, the heads-up play, trips him up. A lot of times when you have the type of offense that the Raiders have, where you're always looking way downfield, it puts a lot of pressure on that offensive line.
3rd down and 18 now for Los Angeles, their own 25. Pocket starting to collapse, and so does Schrader. Again, Powers in there along with Dennis Smith and Steve Atwater. And the Denver defense coming through. 5th sack now for the Broncos.
There's Wade Phillips that orchestrated that sack right there. The defensive coordinator was changed a few thought patterns up there in Denver. He says, I wanted our defense to be simple enough that if we get a player in the first year that had a lot of talent, I wanted him to be able to play. I didn't want to have the guy be around for 2 or 3 years and have to learn the defense. Whatever he can do, we'll find a way to play him and let him do it.
Jeff Gossett punting once again. Vance Johnson waiting. Barring a turnover, the Broncos should have outstanding field position. Good punt though by Gossett. Johnson at his 30. And down at the 31. A 51-yard punt. And the first one down there for the Raiders. Elvis Patterson, the former New York.
There you see the offensive line coach, Kim Helton, doing his version of the telestrator. His is a little bit more, a little bit better than mine, I think. That's Kim Helton, used to be at the Houston Oilers, doing a fine job out here at the Raiders.
Melvin Bratton on the reception to the 35-yard line. 1st and 10 call for John Elway. Lewis and Benson defending for LA. Coming over, you had to expect a close game between these two. 5 of the last 11 have gone into overtime, and 8 of the last 12 have been separated by 3 points or less.
This game nowhere near over. See the fellows over there trying to find a cool breeze somewhere. You can tell when it's really hot. You don't want to sit real next to anybody. You want to try to find an empty spot so you can get all that fresh air you can.
Elway with time. Has it deflected at the line. Wanted to go for the tight end, Clarence Kay. And it looked like Ricky Ellison got in there. Maybe even Greg Townsend got his hand on the ball.
Howie Long and Bob Golick and Scott Davis are putting so much pressure in the middle that they're keeping Elway away from throwing that ball straight over the middle. Watch Howie Long in the middle. Just quick off the ball and still coming at the quarterback, but always keeping that pressure on him. A lot of time, a hurry is better than a sack, because in a hurry, you get a chance to get an interception.
3rd and 6 now. At the 35-yard line. Elway has his man who fumbles it. Loose ball picked up by the Raiders. Down the sideline. It's a touchdown for Terry McDaniel. Second half already by the Denver Broncos, and 2 have resulted in touchdowns for the LA Raiders. Vance Johnson coughed it up.
When you talk about the team speed of this LA Raider team, you talk about Willie Gault, Tim Brown, Sam Grady. Well, the 4th person on that relay team that we talked about earlier would be this fella right here, Terry McDaniel. Once he picks that ball up, he just distances himself from the offense. Terry McDaniel came into camp a little bit hurt, had a pulled muscle, but with that little quick dash there, you can tell he's healed.
Jeff Jager in for the extra point attempt. Raiders trying to go up by 8 points. And Jager is right on target. Another look at the completion and fumble by Vance Johnson.
John Elway here. Finds Vance Johnson over the middle. Vance Johnson makes the catch, and he's wrapped up. Just as he goes down, the ball pops loose. Eddie Anderson knocks it loose. Now watch McDaniel as he picks it up, and he just is in full stride, full speed within 2 steps, and just runs away from everybody. Another look at this. Vance Johnson not able to get the ball into his body. Elway puts it right there. Vance Johnson with the catch. Now watch Eddie Anderson come in, knocks it loose, and stays on Vance Johnson so he can't reach for the fumble. Now McDaniel picks it up, and off to the races he goes. That is a big play. In trying to turn your season around, you got to have big plays. And that's all about learning how to win. You don't have to always score points with the offense. And the Raiders have scored 2 touchdowns today with their defense.
Terry McDaniel, the 9th player selected in the first round of the 1988 draft out of Tennessee.
John Elway will still be heard from. There's a lot of time to go in this game. The Raiders doing a heck of a job converting these turnovers, 2 or 3 of them into touchdowns. That's winning football.
Jager kicking it away to Winder, and Alton Montgomery will take it to the 7-yard line. Montgomery breaking tackles. Out across the 30 to the 31. Well, last year it was the Denver Broncos that dominated in the takeaway category in the AFC. At least so far this afternoon. The opportunists have been the LA Raiders, capitalizing on those 2 mistakes.
John Elway, 7 for 22, 69 yards, 2 interceptions, but he's got a lot more bullets in his belt. I guarantee you, the Raiders will not be able to let up on him because he just keeps coming at you. Broncos not able to get their offense in sync either, just like the Raiders in the first half.
Sewell and Humphrey in the backfield. On 1st and 10 from the 31. Elway with time. Has a man, but overthrows Vance Johnson. He was open momentarily before Eddie Anderson, the safety, came over. Flags down on the play.
Well, he wasn't really open. He was covered short and long. And you can't throw the ball through the short man. That was Eddie Anderson who was underneath. There was no angle to get the ball into the receiver.
Preliminary signal has it going against Denver. So far, everything has gone against the Broncos in the second half.
Holding, number 67 offense, still first down.
They call it on Doug Weidel.
You will see Lionel Washington cover him short, Eddie Anderson cover him deep. And watch the receiver here. It appears that he's open, but he's in a slot where Elway cannot get the ball to him. There's a man in front of him, there's a man behind him. That has to be a perfect throw to get that in there. Vance Johnson covered.
It's outside the 20, where it's 1st and 20. The moving pocket for John Elway. With all day, and has a man, Mark Jackson, who loses it as he hits the deck. It'll be completion, no fumble, for a first down to the 42-yard line.
Mark Jackson showing a lot of concentration here. When you go up to that ball over the middle, you know you're going to be hit, and he's pounded by a linebacker. But that ball, it looked like it came out on the way down. As we, you know, it looks the same going forwards and backwards. It looks like, oh, very close, very close.
His knee was down, though.
Yeah, we have the ability to watch it in slow motion where the referee, the official, cannot see it that slow.
Sewell, the motion man on first down. Sewell with the completion. And he's out of bounds at the 47-yard line on a gain of 5. Let's check up once again on the Hertz 10-minute ticker. Still a 7-point lead for the Browns in the third quarter. Same margin for the Jets over the Bengals. Tight one between Buffalo and Indianapolis. 4-point advantage for New England over Miami. San Diego winning on the road at Dallas in the third. 2nd and 5 for Elway and the Broncos. Pressure coming. Wide open. It's Steve Sewell. He's got the first down inside L.A. territory to the 45-yard line.
Steve Sewell, an all-around back who gives the Broncos so many ways of using him. He's able to, anytime they have him isolated on a linebacker, they figure like they have a mismatch, because Sewell actually could play wide receiver. He's playing fullback. He can play in the slot. And when you have a chance to do all that with one man, you get a chance to isolate him on a particular defender, because you don't bring in a bunch of new receivers. The defense doesn't bring the nickel in, so you get Sewell isolated up on linebackers or safeties. Either one, it is a mismatch.
He is one of the reasons the Denver Broncos go with only 4 running backs as opposed to 5 like so many other teams, because he is so multi-talented. That's the end of the third quarter. A quarter dominated by L.A. Be right back after these messages from your local station.
Looking at ice being applied to the leg of Willie Gault, who is apparently okay, maybe just preventative ice, but he's so important to that Raider big play offense.
First play of the fourth quarter, 1st and 10 for the Broncos at the 45 of L.A. And it's Mark Jackson pulling away from the defensive back inside the 10-yard line. Got away from Eddie Anderson all the way down to the 4. 41 yards on the completion.
Mark Jackson here on Terry Lewis will just run a pattern all the way down, push him back with his speed and bring it back, and Elway will put that ball right on the money. I mentioned Elway having many more bullets in his belt, and here's one of them you see being fired right here. Very nice pattern by Mark Jackson, who makes a nice run after the catch.
Best drive of the second half. No question about that for the Denver Broncos, but they come up confused for the offensive line. Have to use one of those precious 3 timeouts. So they stop the clock with 14:31 left in the fourth quarter. In the men's final today, young man from right here in Southern California, one of the beach communities just south of LA International Airport, Pete Sampras. Straight set victory over Andre Agassi. And don't forget, tonight following the game, NBC News presents a special, The Summit in Helsinki. It's followed by NBC's double feature night. Polly, starring the Cosby's Show, I think you know her quite well, Felicia Rashad, and also A Fight for Jenny, starring Miami Vice's Philip Michael Thomas, Leslie Ann Warren, tonight only on NBC.
You know, when you're on the road a lot, sometimes you have to see your wife any way you can see her. And I guess I'll be seeing her tonight in Polly.
and goal for the Broncos. They trail by 8. They've got it inside the 5. Elway throwing. Maybe not. Yes, he has a man wide open, and it's batted down. He had Sewell in the end zone. Coming up, Dan Land, an extra defensive back in his second year out of Albany State.
An excellent play by Dan Land. Elway floating out to the right side, trying to find a receiver. It's just a naked bootleg. Watch him. He's taking his time, trying to find somebody. Now watch Land time his jump perfectly and just knock this ball down. Great play by Dan Land.
Steve Sewell is coming across the back of the end zone. Was available. Most likely saved a touchdown. Second and goal for Denver with Sewell in motion. Elway has the tight end. Mobley can't hang on.
Same play, same young man involved. Dan Land, number 25, covering Mobley, but this ball was really thrown a little bit too high and out of the back of the end zone. Had he even caught the ball, I think he would have been out of the end zone. Here you'll watch Elway, another rollout, same kind of a bootleg. You see Mobley open right now, and as Elway lets his ball go, even had he caught that ball, his first foot comes in out of bounds.
So now it's a third and goal situation. As Dan Land came up with a couple of big plays. Broncos today only 1 of 10 in third down conversions. Out of the shotgun, Elway has it batted away. Howie Long. Long's got it. And it's another turnover. The 4th of the second half, picked up by the LA Raiders.
We have been talking about the relentless pursuit of Howie Long all day. It pays off right there.
Raiders get it back. As it appeared, the Broncos were ready to make it a tight one.
Talking all day about the relentless pursuit of Howie Long, who never gives up. Right here, he gets a hand on the ball, knocks it out, and then picks it up. Now Howie figures, nobody's touched me. I think I'll take off running. But once again, you see Elway trying to find a receiver. Howie Long reaches and bats the ball away. Howie picks it up and takes off running like a bull in a china shop going the wrong way. And this is what happens after you run 3 or 4 yards there with a fumble pick up. You got to go over and get that oxygen.
First and 10, Marcus Allen leaping over a would-be tackler. Breathing room out to the 16 near the 17.
Marcus Allen is instant offense. Anytime he's in the game, you just don't know how to play him. You know, if he's going to run the ball, he's an excellent blocker. He may be the best all-around back in football. And there's Howie Long, who doesn't want to hear anything about now. All he wants is some cold towels. And, you know, it's funny when you get tired like that, you can't hear. He doesn't know what they're saying. No idea.
Temperature down on the field today is over 100 degrees on the floor of the LA Coliseum. Second and 3, close to the 17. Marcus Allen with a first down. Out to the 21-yard line. Updating those scores once again. Atlanta continues to pull away while the Jets go up by 10.
The New York Jets.
New England still maintaining that 4-point margin. An 8-point lead for the Los Angeles Raiders. And don't forget the Denver Broncos had to use that timeout early in the 4th quarter. They've got 2 remaining now. Marcus Allen stays in the backfield. Ejection on the sideline. Mark Jackson, John Elway. Marcus Allen, 4 carries, a total of 39 yards. The most productive out of the Raider backfield this afternoon. His number is called again. Nothing doing this time, though. Only a yard, the 22.
When you talk about knowing how to win, that's finding a big play any way you can find it. And the Raiders just dodged a bullet by Howie Long coming in and knocking that ball down because the Broncos were knocking at the door.
Marcus Allen saw very, very little time during the preseason. Held out of camp early, came in late, and had a slight hamstring pull. But very effective this afternoon, especially in the second half. Steve Smith Belted to the line of scrimmage. Knifing through is Carl Mecklenburg.
Howie Long still not over that. Not over that. And he said he's been playing so hard and it's so hot. The doctors are down there. They've just taken his blood pressure to make sure everything's okay.
Easy day to become dehydrated. And that's probably the case with Howie Long. 3rd and long for the Raiders. 3rd and 8 at their own 23. Allen stays in the backfield with Steve Smith. Allen gets it. Way short of the first down, though. Steve Atwater into the stop out of the secondary for the Denver Broncos. So the Broncos have had the ball 4 times in the second half. Those 4 possessions have resulted in 2 interceptions and 2 fumbles. And they're ready now to get it back for a 5th time. But they are trailing by more than a touchdown. Plenty of time left, though. 10:45 in the 4th. Gossett ready to put it away with Vance Johnson. On the run. Returnable type for Vance Johnson. It doesn't get much. Although the Broncos, because of the short 35-yard punt, when we come back, will have outstanding field position at their own 45-yard line.
Howie Long, we've just found out, maybe a possible concussion. He was hit on the jaw on the return of that fumble.
Elway stumbles on his drop back. Fires it from Mobley, in the tight end has the completion for 6 yards to the Raider 49-yard line. We welcome you back to the Coliseum in Los Angeles. Joel Myers and Ahmad Rashad with 10 minutes and 10 seconds left in the 4th quarter. Lionel Washington, the injured Raider.
Looks like he's got something wrong with his hip. Lionel Washington on the bottom of the screen. Watch him come in for this tackle on Mobley. It's a very nice tackle. And then just, you know, sometimes you can land kind of funny. Some kind of way that you've landed, you know, many times before, and all of a sudden one time it may be a cramp even. I mean, you get so dehydrated in games like this that you'll get cramps like that. And they cramp in some weird parts of your body, places you never thought you had muscles. And it appears that that's what Lionel Washington had, a cramp in his hip bone, which is a new one on me. Although I've been dehydrated and had things cramp up that I didn't know could possibly cramp.
Washington came to the Raiders from the Cardinals in a deal back in 1987. Has been a starter in their secondary ever since. Broncos down by 8, looking at a 2nd and 4 in Raider territory. Elway now 12 of 29 for 150 yards. He's also thrown 2 interceptions. Melvin Bratton, a big fullback out of the University of Miami, near the first down marker.
Number 71, Bill Pickel, in for Howie Long, and the Broncos ran right at him. The Raiders feel like they've got just a stalwart in Bill Pickel because he can play so many positions. He's got great lateral movement and can play tackle or end, and they don't get a big drop-off in that defensive front when they have Pickel in there.
Gary Kubiak coming in on the 3rd and short. The Raiders got caught, though, in some very late substitutions. So the Raiders had to call a timeout. They had too many men on the field.
Well, that conference you see over there with all those white shirts, they're all gathered around John Elway, icing him down. We must remind you that it is 100 degrees on that field down there.
The team with the added depth eventually should come out on top. We've just received word, heat prostration for John Elway.
Steve Antonopoulos there. Just not a lot that you can do. Try to get fluids in as quick as possible. John. They tell us that he's hyperventilating, but you see he's having a discussion down there, so they seem to have it under control.
The Raiders are coming out of camp very deep on their offensive and defensive lines. We saw Bill McKell take over for Howie Long. They could also use Mike Wise off the bench, Mike Charles as well.
I understand we had a thermometer we were going to put on the field, but I also understand that it broke.
Or did it melt?
I think it blew up through the top.
3rd and inches, and Kubiak on the sneak has the first down inside the 45. Gary Kubiak in his 8th year out of Texas A&M. So the Denver Broncos only go with 2 quarterbacks.
It is such a helpless feeling to be dehydrated or be in a position like Elway is in now in a football game, because you don't have the energy to even get out of the way, and that's when injuries start to happen. It's such a tough game.
Still in motion on 1st and 10. Design roll in the pocket. Howie Long's back in there giving chase. No, Howie Long is not. As it's thrown and it's complete to Mark Jackson. It was 79, not 75. Bob Golick who was after the quarterback. Jackson with the completion.
Well, that's pretty good strategy by Kubiak. If he can make 79 Bob Golick chase him from sideline to sideline, it won't be long that Golick will be joining him over there on the sideline trying to get some water. But a great pursuit there. Watch Kubiak rolls out. And watch Golick number 79 that just keeps pursuing him. Now, Golick is not a very small fella. Like I say, on a hot day like this, it takes a toll on the big guys.
Clock continues to roll under 8 minutes left. 1st and 10 at the 26 of Los Angeles. Play action for Gary Kubiak with time and a completion to Vance Johnson inside the 20. Flag down on the late hit. Ricky Ellison was there, so was Tom Benson.
Tom Benson, I think, was a little late. They had already knocked Vance Johnson down. And as he jumped up to try to keep running.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 54.
Unnecessary roughness call against Tom Benson. Now you see Vance Johnson's down. He stands up, and Benson unnecessarily roughs him. It's always so strange, Lane. We can't understand that. You know, how can you say somebody else did? He's the only guy that hit him.
More importantly for the Denver Broncos, they've got it 1st and goal now at the Los Angeles 9-yard line. 7.5 minutes left. Kubiak has done a fine job since taking over. Sammy Winder wrapped up in the backfield. Howie Long is back in there. Comes up with a big play.
Howie Long is, now when people say he's a football player, you could say that about Howie Long. Howie Long, with a possible concussion, he's tired, hot-winded, and there he comes back. He only knows one way to play, and that's just all-out relentless.
Let's not forget the LA offense has yet to score a point today. The 2 touchdowns coming on an interception return by Jerry Robinson, and also a 42-yard fumble return by the defensive back Terry McDaniel. Kubiak on 2nd and goal has problems. Finds his receiver still, who stays on his feet. Mark Jackson to the 5. Great effort by the former Purdue Boilermaker.
Mark Jackson with just a little pattern where you come up underneath the other receivers. Little crossing pattern. You see Kubiak backing up, looking for Mark Jackson the entire way. Fires it to Jackson. A great catch here in traffic. And now watch him keep his feet. Still running, twisting. Very good play by Mark Jackson.
3rd and goal. With the ball at the LA 5. Under 6 minutes remaining. As Bratton goes in motion. Humphrey nowhere on the carry. Bob Golick, no. Bill McKell. Some fresh bodies coming off that Raider bench, paying off in the 4th quarter.
Bill McKell, a starter on almost any other team in the National Football League, comes in as a backup here. Watch McKell in the middle of your screen, number 71. just gets right by everybody and makes the tackle. He's almost in the backfield during the handoff. Now, the Raiders making wholesale changes, showing that they've got great depth in their defensive line. You see Elway sitting in front of the air conditioner there.
Treadwell in for a 24-yard attempt. It's good. And now the Denver Broncos are within 5. Third field goal of the afternoon. And it's a 5-point game. It is a simmering September afternoon in Los Angeles, and it has taken its toll on players from both teams. Welcome back. I'm Joel Myers, Ahmad Rashad, and 5:05 remaining in the game. One of the most important offensive opportunities now for the LA Raiders.
Well, the Raiders, with their style, they just got to keep coming at. They got to keep coming at Denver, because this is not a game where you can set on the ball and hope that you can run the clock out. You got to try to keep putting points on the board. And Gary Kubiak, for everybody outside of Denver, let me tell you, this young man can play quarterback. So the Broncos are still dangerous with Kubiak in at quarterback.
Very, very important offensive series coming up now for the Raiders. Even if they can't get points, they want to hang on to the ball a good 3.5, even 4 minutes. The kick is on its way. And it's taken by Jamie Holland. Holland with a good return out to the 30-yard line. Before we come back to the Coliseum, it's time for an update. Bob Costas in NFL Live.
Joel, a few moments ago, Cincinnati trailed by 10. Then Boomer Esiason threw a touchdown pass to James Brooks, and right after that, what was Ken O'Brien thinking? He seemingly makes a beeline for the end zone. David Fulcher sacks him there for the safety, since he's within 1 with about 6 minutes left. Joel?
All right, Bob. A 5-point contest with 4:55 left. And now the pressure on the Denver defense to get the ball back to their offensive unit. This is on to the 4th offensive series of the second half for the LA Raiders at their own 29-yard line. Nothing on the carry. Maybe a yard at the most for Greg Bell. Don't forget, later tonight on NBC, NBC News presents a special, The Summit in Helsinki. That'll be followed by Polly at A Fight for Jenny. Polly with Felicia Rashad. That's tonight only on NBC. Second and 9. The ball at the 30-yard line. Clock rolling under 4:20 left. Schrader appears to be audibilizing at the line of scrimmage. Nobody there. A busted play, and Schrader makes something out of it, getting about 4. Well, a breakdown in communication for the Los Angeles Raiders, and they get a big break. Well, the kids are in school. Football's in the air. The start of a new fall TV season is upon us. NBC's premiering some of their new shows this week, and the hottest show, the surefire hit of the season, the show the critics are talking about, premieres tomorrow night. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. It is followed by the series preview of Ferris Bueller. That's tomorrow night only on NBC. Third and a short 5. Bell in the backfield with Smith. And Schrader is throwing. The short one for Fernandez, complete for the first down to the 42. Pulled it off in front of Tyrone Braxton. There's the biggest enemy right now for the Denver Broncos, the clock. Broncos have 2 timeouts remaining. Just like the Raiders. These two have been involved in 4 openers. The Broncos who've taken the last 3. The most recent in '86, a 38-36 win. Denver fans won't forget, back at Mile High. Steve Smith. Brought down by Atwater, but he gets 3 on the carry to the 46. And don't forget, as we look forward to our second Sunday of the season, Ahmad and I will be in Miami for the matchup between the Bills and the Dolphins. Jim Kelly and Dan Marino. Second game, many of you will see, will be the Raiders at the Kingdome taking on the Seahawks. So check your local listings for the game of the time in your area. And NFL Live will get it all started at 12:30 Eastern. We'll be right back to Los Angeles. You've just joined us. John Elway had to leave the game with about 10 minutes remaining due to heat prostration. Gary Kubiak has taken over.
This is a very helpless feeling for John Elway, who would love to be back in that game playing, but there's just nothing he can do.
2nd and 7. A 14-9 Raider lead. Steve Smith weaving his way out of the backfield, breaking tackles. Close to the midfield stripe. Brought down by Michael Brooks.
The Raiders have been trying to find a ground attack the entire game, and if they find it now, it could be the icing on the cake here.
We have reached the 2-minute warning in Los Angeles. The heat continues to be a factor. We'll find out if the Broncos are when we return. It's one of the best rivalries in the NFL. And right now, the Los Angeles Raiders enjoying a 5-point advantage over the Denver Broncos. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League. It is intended for the private use of our audience, and any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Los Angeles Raiders and the National Football League is prohibited. This game is the property of the National Football League, the Denver Broncos, and the Los Angeles Raiders, all rights reserved. Well, they expected about 55,000. Attendance at the Coliseum today, 54,206. Just a couple of miles down the Harbor Freeway. 50,000 on hand at the Dodger game as they take on the Cincinnati Reds.
And just a few more miles over to the beach, probably about 300,000 sunning and sunbathing.
Another look at scores around the NFL. Cleveland with a field goal now has a 10-point lead on the Steelers at home. A runaway for Atlanta in Jerry Glanville's debut. And a big come from behind in the 4th for Cincinnati. Still time left, though, at Riverfront. Buffalo up by 9 over Indianapolis. Miami still trailing by 4. Well, that's the margin with San Diego on top of Dallas. We're ready for the biggest third down of the game. It is 3rd and just about 3. The ball just short of the midfield stripe. John Elway getting ready to come back in if Denver can hold L.A. on 3rd and 3. Smith and Allen in the backfield. Marcus Allen gets the call and doesn't get the first down. He's not even close. Denver has just called their final timeout, stopping the clock with 1 minute and 52 seconds. And it really would be amazing, and it appears he will be coming back.
Dan Reeves trying to get some strategy going because they have no more timeouts. But in a quarterback like John Elway, who knows how to work that clock, they still have a lot of time.
He looks so listless. Looks so void of energy on the bench. It's amazing he could get back up, put the helmet on, and even make the attempt.
Well, it's amazing what athletes do at the snap of the ball. We saw Howie Long look like he was never going to play football again in life and came back in and made great plays. So a lot of times you just let it lie until you can gather up and get it going for that one play at a time.
So now Vance Johnson will get ready for the punt from Jeff Gossett. As the Broncos will get one final try, down by only 5. It's been a productive day for Gossett. No pressure. So they set up for the return, and Johnson has it to the 15. Out across the 20. And he goes to the 22, close to the 23. 7-yard return after the 35-yard punt.
And here comes John Elway. A situation like this where they need a touchdown, they need John Elway. They need that big gun in there. The guy that has the possibility of making it happen in one play. Raiders defense has been tough all day. They've got to just put it together one more time.
Raider defense has really done it in the trenches today. Minute 43 left. Elway out of the shotgun. 2 wide receivers to each side. And Stewart in the backfield. Elway has time and has. Vance Johnson tries to save time and does so, getting to the sideline after the completion for about 6 yards to the 29. Heads up play by Johnson. Saves a good 20 seconds.
This is a drill that every team in the National Football League spends a lot of time on, that 2-minute drill, where everybody should know exactly what they're supposed to do. You cannot have mental errors if you hope to be successful during this period of the game.
2nd and 4. Elway hit as he throws it. Wanted to go to Michael Young.
Oh, he was sacked.
They say he is sacked. He was in the grasp of Greg Townsend.
Greg Townsend. That physical fitness routine he did down in Houston, said he used to have to run up a 45-foot hill that was at a 45-degree angle many, many times. It's paying off now in this game that he just keeps coming on. And it also looks like Paquel might have been the first one to get to him.
It's now 3rd and 11. Back at the 22 of Denver. Trips to the near side. Elway rolling to that side, but he's shut off by Howie Long, and Long's got him again. What a day for the 10th-year All-Pro out of Villanova.
Howie Long, the left side of your screen, just keeps coming. He is unblockable. He is right on Elway before you can even look downfield.
4th and 19. Last try for Elway and the Broncos. Out of his own end zone. Way short of the first down. On the incompletion to Mark Jackson, who couldn't hang on anyway. So they begin to celebrate for good now at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. And no question, the star of the game, number 75. So the Raiders do it on a day where their offense did not produce a point. They get it back at the Denver 14-yard line. 14 is the magic number right now for the Raiders. And Denver cannot stop the clock. So one snap for Jay Schrader and the Los Angeles Raiders. And it will become official. The Raiders will win their opener at home, where Art Shell has yet to lose as the head coach of the Los Angeles Raiders. He is a perfect 7-0. Five sacks for the Raiders. 2 belong to Howie Long, the other 3 to Greg Townsend. The Raiders wore him down defensively.
Art Shell said before this game that the Broncos were where they wanted to be, and the Raiders just took a giant step trying to get back right in that championship caliber level. Art Shell was very happy with the work of his team during the preseason. Said they were flying around. They just didn't know how good they were. And after playing a team like Denver, they would find out more today because they were playing a championship team, a team that they beat. And Art Shell's got to be very happy about today.
What has to impress you a lot about the Raider defensive unit, it appears they're a very deep group. They have a lot of people on the defensive front and in the secondary as well, and a very experienced group of linebackers.
Well, the mark of a good team is if your offense isn't playing well, your defense has got to do it for you. And there you see Howie Joey Long, who had such a great day today, and I asked him yesterday if he preferred playing tackle or end. He just, listen, I show up to practice, I show up to the games, they tell me which one I play, and I just play it. And boy, he played today.
Let's check out those finals around the National Football League. Shutout for Mike Ditka and the Chicago Bears. The LA Rams losing their opener on the road to the Green Bay Packers.
Without the magic man, the Green Bay Packers.
Right. Dilweg started and went the whole way at quarterback. Kansas City by a field goal over your old team of mine, the Minnesota Vikings. Tampa Bay taking on Detroit, one of the pleasant developments during the preseason, but the Lions fell flat in their opener at home, losing by 17.
Tampa Bay, I'm sorry, Joe, but Tampa Bay quietly putting together a very good team down there.
Easy win for Washington over Phoenix. And game still going on. Cleveland up by 10 at home. A runaway for Atlanta in Glanville's debut. The Jets still trailing by 2 to the Bengals at Cincinnati. Buffalo late in that game, winning by 9, while Miami now has taken the lead over New England. San Diego still clinging to that 4-point advantage down in Irving, Texas. So the final once again here at the Coliseum in Los Angeles, the Raiders beating the Broncos by 5. And remember, next weekend on NBC Sports, the Isuzu Quarterback Challenge, Saturday and Sunday. And then Sunday, Ahmad and I'll be at Miami for the Bills matchup with the Dolphins. Primetime lineup begins with a Summit in Helsinki tonight, followed by Polly and Fight for Jenny. And remember, tomorrow night's premiere, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Ferris Bueller, only on NBC. For Ahmad Rashad, this is Joel Myers, along with our statistician, Dennis Medition. Thank you for joining us in Los Angeles. This has been NBC Sports coverage of the National Football League.